Hello and welcome back to Podium Pop. My name is Celine and I'm here with my co-host Gracie. This is a bonus episode this week. There was so much motorsport going on that we decided to break it out into 2 episodes. So if you haven't already, go listen to our Formula One recap. They were in Monza this week. That is already posted. This episode is focusing more on Indycar. They were in Milwaukee this weekend. We're going to give our race recap of both races, as well as share some of our opinions, some of our champagne pops, and our champagne problems. So we'll go ahead and get started, but right before we do, make sure you go follow us on TikTok and on Instagram. We also post our episodes on YouTube and Spotify, so definitely follow us on all social media to keep up to date when episodes come out and when fun content gets posted. We will be attending the Nashville race for Indycar, which is the next race, which is also the last race. So definitely make sure you're checking out that content. There's going to be a lot of IndyCar content creators there, so we're super excited to get to meet up with some of them. So definitely make sure that you're following us on all social media. Should we get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
Let's go ahead and pop the bottle and get right into it.
Let's do it.
So,
we're going to start off with a doozy.
Yeah.
So, this is involving Pato. I'm sure you all have seen this already. But basically, the Penske Entertainment CEO, Mark Miles, kind of came out and was talking about Pato, and this is involving IndyCar having a race in Mexico. Because this past week we found out that NASCAR is going to have a race in Mexico City. Obviously, Formula One has a race there. Formula E has a race there. Lots of series are going there that are much less popular than Indy. So Mark Miles. I'm going to get it confused for the whole episode. He kind of talked to the sponsors of the whole kind of in Mexico City. And basically they were the sponsors were hey, you can have a race here, but we're not ready to sponsor you yet. Okay, odd, whatever. So then Mark, goodness gracious, it's fine. Mark came back and decided to just go ahead and put out this statement and said that Pato Who, he's just not as popular as he thinks he is. He's not as popular as this old IndyCar driver who's from Mexico. He's just not who he thinks he is. And he said, I forget what the quote, he said something about a billboard. Not on billboards or something.
Yeah, not on billboards. Sometimes people say things and who knows what his actual intentions are. I'm sure he probably meant it in a genuine way. But
maybe.
But dude, you gotta watch what you say and how you say it, and he's basically a dumbass.
Yeah, they told him they could race there, but they're not gonna burn it, which obviously that
honestly the decision made is completely, a separate thing from the comments made.
Oh, yeah,
if
for
that
sure.
decision was made and they're we're not doing there yet, but once they are ready to sponsor us, we're gonna have a race there. End statement. That's all you needed to say.
You didn't need to keep going. You didn't need to be mean.
Yeah. So
that led to a lot of fun though. Drivers, Rossi, Felix were coming out. Pato Who? Everybody was saying they were making jokes. And then Rossi made this whole tweet, so did
amazing tweet.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. I loved it. So did Felix, and then after at some of the press conferences, they were talking about it too. It was funny. Pato turned it into a joke as well. Mm-hmm. And then he turned around and went and won the first race. So
absolutely. So yeah, it was kind of a really special moment. Obviously, we always love when an Aaron McLaren driver does well because we're big McLaren fans, and so Pato winning was already exciting. But it coming literally a day after all of this drama was happening,
that was awesome.
It was very much so oh look what I just did.
Yeah, for sure. So and then that first race, Pato won. Mm-hmm. On that podium was also Will Power and Connor Daly. It was Connor Daly's first podium, and it was the first podium for JHR as well.
Yes.
So that was awesome. Yeah, Connor was so excited.
Yeah,
we all were.
Oh, absolutely. We watched the race with some of our other friends that don't watch motorsport, and it was probably not the most exciting first race for them to watch, but there was some drama. I know the biggest thing that jumps out to me, only because it happened to him twice, was Marcus Ericsson and Joseph Newgarden had a bit of a collision, and then Joseph was out both of the races. But yeah, it was a pretty standard race, I would say. I don't think anything else super crazy.
There was some action. It was a great race.
A lot of overpasting. It was
It wasn't like
an
Pato was
insane
leading
number.
the whole time either. It was towards the end where he kind of came back for that win.
Yeah, both races, honestly, like, up until literally, like, probably the last, like, 2 laps, like, you didn't know who was gonna win. Like, it was so back and forth. And that's kind of why I love ovals. Like, I know ovals get, like, a really bad rep. But, like, ovals are exciting because it's so much, like, down to the wire. Like, you really don't know. Like, anything could happen in the last turn, you know?
Yeah. Love ovals. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
That in that press conference was where they kept making, like, the jokes. Like, even Will Power, which was, like, he was, like, should be in Mexico City, huh? And it was fun. And then Pato came in. Obviously, he was, like, doing a bunch of stuff after winning. He came into the press conference a few minutes late, and he came in still wearing his, like, big sombrero. It was awesome. Yeah,
the sombrero made a lot of appearances, which is...
Yeah, it did.
Is great. Another thing to note about the first races, there were a lot of grid penalties. I don't even have, like, the full list. I mean, I could probably find it, but I'd be naming them off for a while. But a lot of people had grid penalties just from, like, engine updates and things like that.
There's like 2 rounds of grid penalties that came out.
So because of that, qualifying was, like, a little, like, shaken up for that one. A thing to note, I'm going to talk about it, about qualifying. And something to note that happened at qualifying is Pietro. He did really... He actually, all of the RLL cars had a really, really shitty weekend. Yeah. And Pietro also had a very shitty weekend. And Pietro, for some reason you're listening, don't listen to anything I'm about to say. But I did, like, have... Like, I know that there is not really... a good chance at all that Pietro is going to have a seat in IndyCar next year. I'm aware of that. I've accepted it. But it didn't really, like, fully hit me until qualifying. Like, qualifying happened, and it was just a really bad hour for me after the fact. It really affected me.
Thoughts and prayers, girl.
It was really bad. Like, they were talking, and he drove... I don't know what it was. Is the car. It wasn't him. He was slower than the Indy Next drivers' qualifying times. And it was just, like, a very, like, it happened, and I just realized, okay, like, it's happening. But, with that being said, I would like to put a statement out that no matter where he goes next year, I will still support him. I'm still going to be wearing my full Fittipaldi merch to Nashville. And I think he's still the best race car driver in my heart.
I love that for you.
Yes. But saying that to lead into the fact that he qualified at the bottom for both of the races. So.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we really didn't touch on this. So how oval qualifying works is they will go out one at a time, and they will do a warm-up lap, and then they will do 2 flying laps around the track, and the first lap speed, the top speed that they go, qualifies them for the first race, and then the second lap speed qualifies them for the second race. So it doesn't matter, like, how fast you get around the oval. It matters their miles per hour.
Yes.
So that's how that works for qualifying. So gotta look at the speeds when doing that.
Yeah. And it's also, like, IndyCar sometimes I think is hard for newer IndyCar fans because all of the qualifyings are, like, it feels like
a little
all
different.
of them are slightly different. So, like, another example would be, like, that was set up that way because there were 2 races. But when we were at Gateway, that was also an oval. It was set up to where they averaged out both of the speeds from both of the laps. Another thing to note is, I don't think we talked about this. This is really throwing it back to Gateway, but that just reminded me of there was an older man sitting next to us in qualifying at Gateway.
So cute.
Sweetest little thing ever. He had his own stopwatch. He had his radio headphones on. He had his own stopwatch, and he was timing every single person's lap. And I don't know if, like, I'm sure he knows, like, I don't know why he needed those times because, again, it was based on the speed and not the time, but it was really adorable.
Yeah. He's doing it just for the fun of everything.
He's doing it for the knowledge and just for the stats.
He also, he, like, had come up the steps and he looked over the stands and he saw somebody he knew. He was like, hey, fancy seeing you here.
Oh, yeah, he is a veteran,
veteran
IndyCar fan.
It was amazing.
Yeah. But it was really cute.
Yeah. We are gonna get into the mess that whatever was race 2.
Yeah, race 2, like, that was, like, another thing. Like, we were watching race 2 together. I'm like, wow, like, this would have been a good race for our friends to watch for the first time, because there was just so much, like, just when you're like, oh, that was crazy. Another thing happened.
It was insane.
Before the race even started.
Yeah.
So
whoa.
I was going to say, so we were filming our Formula 1 episode, like, right up until, like, the minute, basically, that the IndyCar race 2 was starting. So we literally, like, get finished filming, we're like, okay, let's turn the race on. So we turned the race on, and it was, like, they were doing their, like, what is it called?
Just formation.
Formation lap. And all of a sudden we see Alex Palou's car stopped. And we're like, oh God, like, what happened? Like, we don't know, did someone, like, bump or something like that? And then
I think the race had just started, and Alex Palou, his car stalled.
Yeah.
So he's off the side, so they had to throw a caution out.
Yes. So, basically, he was out before the race even started. He does eventually get back in. They fix the car because it was a hybrid issue, which means that they're allowed to fix it and get back in. But he was so
There was
far
a lot
behind.
going on with it. At first he was, like, in the pits, they were trying to fix it, and then he was being craned out of there, and then he was being craned somewhere else, and then he was out of the car, and he was just talking to the team on the pit wall, and then he was putting his suit back on, back in the car.
Yeah, you see it, and then you saw him, like, running, and you're like, oh my gosh, like
sprinting.
Which is so crazy, too, because, like, imagine, like, as a fan, like, you could have been, like, right there, like, in the paddock, like, where he was running by, because we were, like, we saw that happen, again, at Gateway, where I was, like, watching the race from the paddock at Gateway, and we saw, like, Pato, his car, like, got wheeled into the paddock, and they were still working on it. You could see, like, them frantically moving, and Gracie was in the stand, so I was texting her, and I did have to give her the updates that they slowed down with their frantic movements, and that's when I kind of knew that they weren't going to get him back in the race.
It's okay, I wasn't getting any of those messages. So.
Yeah, there was no service.
They were not coming to me. It's fine.
But it was just interesting how, like, again, it's just, like, another side of the, like, how close you can get to the action, I guess.
Yeah.
But
so
that happened.
Yeah, so Alex was out. There was a caution for that, just trying to get him off the track and, back away. So then I think it's lap 5. We're going green. I'm real sad about this. The race starts up, and I would just like to say that Marcus Armstrong started 3rd, one of his best starts. I was very, very excited to see what he could do. And it's the 2 cars in the front. Excuse me, because I forget who it is. And then behind the 3rd, Marcus comes to kind of, not go in the middle of them, but just kind of block the back. Linus behind him makes the same exact move. And Linus bumps into Marcus Armstrong, which causes Marcus Armstrong to bump into Joseph Newgarden, which causes Joseph Newgarden to spin and hit the wall. So then immediately, like, lap barely started, we are already thrown into a caution. Pato, like, barely avoided Joseph Newgarden.
So close. He did, like, I think they were, like, worried he clipped his wing a little bit.
So then Joseph was out. We're back under caution again.
Pause, though. Joseph was pretty freaking sassy to Georgia on the after interview. I mean, to be fair, he did just crash.
Yeah.
It's the second, he crashed in race 1, and then we crashed, and he's out in race 2. And he did, like, make the comment that, like, said something like, forget what, like, over the radio.
He was like, man, don't ask me that question.
Well, no, yeah, like, on the radio, he said the comment, like,
like, that was so. I think he said, like, it was
he
the
said,
number
like,
8
someone didn't get the memo,
or
something. Some people in the back didn't get the memo, and Georgia was like, was that in reference to, like, the number 8 car, like, Linus? And he said, don't ask me that. And I was like,
Georgia's Georgia's stronger than I am.
I would have either, like, walked away, or
man.
I actually probably would have more likely just burst into tears if he said that to me.
Sure.
Because, like, again, it's, like, really, like, that's odd coming from Joseph Newgarden.
And I'm sure she's not used to it, but, like, she's talking to these drivers right as they're getting out of the car after crashing, after something bad happening, if they're not racing anymore. And so, like, I mean, they're like, hey, Georgia, go ask these questions. She's like, okay.
Yeah. So
it
was a lot. But similar to what we did for Gateway, because there were a lot of people out, I'm going to go ahead and just list off everyone that did get out real quick. So, obviously, Joseph Newgarden, Marcus Armstrong, Nolan was out for a mechanical issue. Pato was out for a mechanical issue. Graham Rahal was out for contact. David Malukas was out for a mechanical issue. Pietro Fittipaldi was out for a mechanical issue. Linus was out because of contact. Alex Palou was out because of a mechanical issue and then got back in. Stinger Rob was out for contact. And Connor Daly, I don't remember this happening, but all it says on there is retired.
I remember being at one point.
There were a couple. There were so many that like I didn't notice that people were out until like a couple of races later. I'm like, wait, where are they?
Yeah.
Like I did that with Pietro even. Like
silently
normally my eyes are on Pietro the whole time. And at one point I just looked up and was like, oh, Pietro's out. Like,
yeah. Well, and also back to the beginning, Marcus was still running. He didn't like fully get out from that. Mm-hmm. And then he went into the pits to get his car fixed. And then he was like running for a bit. And then eventually it was just like, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, you can't keep going.
Yeah.
Which was very sad because once again, he had one of his highest starts in a long time. He did great in qualifying. If he didn't have a freaking grid penalty, he would have done great in qualifying for race 1. I'm a little upset, but it's fine.
It was tough. That's like how I felt last week because Pietro had a really good qualifying and then he got the 2 penalties and it was like done for, you know?
Yeah.
Donezo. Yeah. It was just, it was a very chaotic race. There were even more of these like moments, like Will Power had a moment where he like didn't hit anyone, but he just like lost his rear tires.
Well, so
put out a little bit and recovered it, but
in the beginning it was looking like Will was going to win.
Yeah.
He was running pretty well. He was doing great. And right now in the championships, it's Alex Palou in the lead with Will behind him, not too far behind. And this is what everybody was talking about. Like, if Will wins, they're going into Nashville. Alex Palou's only going to have like a 10-ish point advantage to him. This is going to be crazy. Nashville's still going to be crazy, but Will fell back a bit at one of the cautions, like pit, fell back in the race. And at the restart, that's when he
lost the rear tires
on his own. Yeah, spun a bit. So that like pushed him back even more in the points. So now they are going into Nashville. How many points ahead was Alex?
30 something.
Yeah,
30 maybe.
So right around like 30-ish points, Alex is ahead.
33.
So still, Nashville is going to be insane. Like, we're down to the very last race. It's not decided.
Yep.
The race is going to be crazy between Will and Alex. And even if something happens to both of them, there's a chance. I literally forget who was in third. Is it Scott?
Yeah, I was going to say, Scotty Mac is literally 50 points behind. So
and Colton's only 63 points behind.
I actually don't think Colton could catch him.
That's true.
But Scott, technically, because first place gets 50 points, right? Mm-hmm. Technically, well, actually, could he? Because you get 5 points no matter what.
Oh, so I guess it's just between.
It's just between. I mean, maybe if he gets, like, fastest lap and, pole position and all of them. We'll have to do our research on that. But I don't think it's possible, really, that Scotty.
I think, like, just going in, it's just
he could definitely catch Will Power in second, though.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really Will against Alex. And as Penske haters, we're really rooting for Alex Palou.
We're really rooting.
Also, I was texting our friend Sarah Offey, and I was like texting her. I was like, I feel like I've become more and more of like a CGR fan, like every single day. Like I never like disliked Chip Ganassi, but I didn't really like ever like love them. But like I don't know, like I really like Linus. Obviously, we like Marcus Armstrong. I really like Alex Palou, Scott Dixon. Like they have so many good GIF.
Yeah.
So many good people on their team that, like, I don't know.
I think I always was kind of a CGR fan because Marcus is, like, one of my favorite drivers. Mm-hmm. Alex Palou's, like, way up there for me.
I think
how do you not like Scott Dixon?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think I always really like CGR.
I came in not, like, loving them only because, like, they were one of the top teams. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't like Penske, I don't like CGR. And I was, like, an Arrow McLaren fan whenever I first joined or started watching IndyCar. Mm-hmm. And an Andretti fan. So, like, they were always behind CGR and Penske, so maybe that's why I didn't love them.
That's fair.
But now I do.
Yeah, I love Chip Ganassi racing.
Chip knows what he's doing.
Until they have to go from 5 to 3, but that's fine.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see about that. It's so interesting too because like the driver lineup for next year, there's still so many kind of like things up in the air. Like as much as I hate to say it, like Ferrucci had 2 really good races. Actually, he had a lot of good overtakes, and he really showed his potential and what he can do. And that's, I think, going to be really helpful in him securing his seat back at AJ Foyt next year as David Malukas is his teammate.
I think so.
I think Stingray Robb should be a little worried. Yeah. We'll see. There's obviously seats open at RLL.
And Meyer Shank.
But Meyer Shank is always still kind of up in the air about maybe if some of the Chip Ganassi team members go to Meyer Shank. We still don't know where Alexander Rossi's going.
Well, Chip Ganassi and Meyer Shank might form a technical alliance. So if they do that,
I would like to form an alliance.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Chip.
If they do that, then there's a high chance Chip Ganassi could say to Meyer Shank, take one of our drivers, especially if the charter system goes into place where they can only have 3 cars.
And I do wonder if they would try to give 3 cars to Meyer Shank, or Meyer Shank would just keep it as 2 and just have one person out. It's very important to us because, again, we love Marcus Armstrong.
Trying to figure that out.
And I really want, there's no way that they're not going to have Linus have a seat.
Yeah,
he just got Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
he's had an amazing year.
He's had such a great year.
And he hasn't gotten his win yet, but he's been on the podium multiple times now at this point.
Yeah.
And I think that they would be stupid to let go of Linus. But then you have to think who...
Money is, like, the biggest factor here. And
absolutely. They can't get rid of Alex Palou. They can't get rid of Scott Dixon. No, those are obvious. Scott Dixon's going to be there until he decides to retire, which I love Scott Dixon, again. But it does... I'm adamant about this in Formula One as well, like for Fernando Alonso. Like, at some point, like...
See, I'm like, keep Scott to keep going. I love Scott.
I don't know. Like, I want new talent to come in, and yes, I agree that Scott Dixon's amazing, and he's still doing great. Like, it's not affecting him. Same with Fernando Alonso. But, like, at one point, aren't you tired, Scott? No. Aren't you tired?
Actually, I listened to an interview with Scott. I think it was his Java with James interview. And he was like, James asked that. I think it was a year ago that this happened, though. And he was like, so, like, what are you thinking? Is, like, retirement anytime soon? I forget basically what he said. But Scott was like, as long as I'm having fun, I'm going to keep racing.
Yeah.
And
I wonder how old is he?
In his 40s.
He's only in his 40s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, Chip Ganassi, I feel like, is obviously going to keep him around.
I think they should keep Linus, though.
I do, too. There comes that whole thing, though, how Kiffin is a pay driver, so... And Linus is not. Kiffin brings in a lot of funding to the team, so... That'll be very interesting to see how this all works out.
Yeah.
Over the silly season.
Oh, he's 44.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and it honestly, with all of those kind of going into play, though, it does probably leave Marcus Armstrong out first.
For sure.
So yeah, maybe he'll go to Meyer Shank.
If it's on the... Marcus brings in about half the funding, so that's, like, I guess, like, a good thing for him. He's a good driver, too. He's had shitty luck, and he has a shitty strategist. There, I said it.
Yeah.
I said it. Anyway.
They need to...
I even, like, and I understand, like, I'm a pretty big Marcus Armstrong fan, so I have a bias at some points, and there's, like, a girl I follow on Twitter, and she was on Reddit, which... You know, I very rarely go on Reddit. That place scares me. But she...
it confuses the hell out of me.
It confuses the hell out of me. And also, it's a scary place. She was, like, on Reddit and, like, posted about how people were, like, talking about Marcus's strategist. And, like, there was even one that was like, I don't even like the guy, but what's up with his strategist? Like, what's up? What is going on with this? So, that's all.
Yeah.
Would love to see him in the 66 car.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's just so many things up in the air. But it is interesting how, like, Formula One, like, the grid is almost set for next year completely. We're only missing the RB seat and the Sauber seat, right?
Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were talking about Formula One. Yeah.
So yeah, Formula One, the grid is set, pretty much set next year, where there's still so many, like, question marks for IndyCar.
We don't even know what's going on with Prema.
Yeah, we have heard nothing about, we've heard a lot of rumors, but we haven't heard anything definite about Prema, which I'm so
With Prema,
excited.
I'm, like... choosing to believe my man Tony Donahue that says that Callum Ilot's going to that seat. He said it on Twitter. I'm choosing to believe him.
I just got chills thinking about that.
I know.
Yeah, because Prema's coming in, like, fresh. Like, they don't have any other drivers that they're going to have to, like, make room for a new driver. So it will be interesting to see kind of what direction they go in. But they're such a successful team, like, in, you know, other racing series.
Yeah,
that,
for
like,
sure.
I think they're going to come in probably, obviously not, like, the strongest their first couple of years, but I think that they could definitely make a presence. It will be interesting.
It'll be very exciting.
But yeah, I wonder, because again, this is our first year really watching IndyCar, so we don't know, like, when generally these announcements kind of come out.
So for Coin, it'll be the day before St. Pete.
Yeah,
be like, here's our drivers!
Exactly. Another thing that, like, I don't know if I've talked about this or not, but I always thought it was interesting, like, me and, again, Sarah Offey were having a conversation during the race, and I was like, it's so crazy as, like, a fan that came from Formula One to IndyCar, how quickly, like, the seats change, like, race to race.
Yeah.
And that's really shocking. And she's like, it's not always been like that, actually. Like, this is, like, a rare thing that's been, like, this year only. Like, this doesn't normally happen. And so it's super interesting to kind of see the difference in that as well. So I don't know when we'll get announcements.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I wonder if some teams will announce it in Nashville, or if all of them are going to wait for, like, over winter break. Which, another thing that I'm going to have to really get used to is the fact that winter break is so much longer for IndyCar than it is for Formula One.
Yeah, and it's going to be even longer next year because of stupid Fox.
Yeah.
It's so freaking annoying.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious.
Literally a year from now, this will be it'll be in the Nashville weekend. Which, love that it's Labor Day weekend, but let's extend it a bit.
Yeah, let's do something, guys.
Anyway.
No, it'll be a rough winter, that's for sure. At least we have Formula One until,
and
November,
we obviously love to predict when driver announcements are going to happen for Formula One. We've gotten really good at it. I have absolutely no clue, like, when they would be announced. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Like, I feel like it's easier from a PR standpoint. Like, I studied PR. It'd be easier, like, from that standpoint to be like, oh, this is when it makes sense for them. But then the IndyCar, like, break is so long. Like, the teams have been wild this year. Like, announcing drivers swap mid-season. The number 6 car. Zach Brown.
Mr. Brown. Please chill out a little bit. We were talking, and we were trying to figure out if Zach Brown was going to be in Nashville for IndyCar or in Baku for Formula One.
Like, I feel like his children over in Formula One need him.
Yeah. I feel like he probably will be in Nashville because it's the last race.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's probably needed more
more in Baku, for sure. Like,
he's got to be there because there's tension.
Bella, I love you, but
there's tension.
We're gonna need some help.
You need to bring Dad. Dad
needs to stay there.
He needs to be at the race.
Anyway, we made a joke. We said if Zach Brown is gonna be in Nashville, we're gonna find him and be like, "Hey, want to take us to Dakota?"
Yeah, we'll go with you to Dakota. We'll carry your suitcases.
So funny. Not actually. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Well. And become friendship bracelets. That'd be so funny.
Friendship bracelets. We love Texas.
Team Zach Brown. We don't hate you. Bring back Dave.
Yeah. That's only if he says no to bringing us to Texas, then we give him that one.
Yeah. Well, then we'll hand him just like funny.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts on IndyCar this weekend?
Nope. I'm very excited for Nashville once again. It's going to be so excited we will be there. So it's going to be so exciting to be there for, like, the final, like, championship deciding race. And it's an oval. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah.
And, like, there's going to be so many content creators. On Friday, we're going to an event for Track Talk. They're doing, like, a live podcast.
Yeah.
Basically, and they're going to have, like, a panel of people. We're super excited, so we're attending and we're going to watch their live podcast. I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Sarah Offey's helping them out, and they're doing, like, friendship bracelets, and it's going to be, I think it's at a coffee shop.
Oh, I'm not sure. I signed up for the...
Yeah, we signed up to go, so we're excited.
I didn't even look to where it was.
But if you're going to be in Nashville and you're looking for something to do on Friday, definitely go check it out. It's in their bio and everything, so if you go look at their social media. But if you are going, let us know, because we'd love to see you there as well.
We're also, like, it's so fun. We're going to the race with our friend Ryan that we've talked about a lot. And then we're also going, like, we're all staying in a big Airbnb with our friend Lexi that we met at Ohio, our friend Marley that we met at St. Louis. Like, it's just so fun.
It's so fun.
I'm so excited. We also managed to find a banger Airbnb.
Oh my gosh, we got a deal of a lifetime.
Literally a deal of a lifetime.
It was like 50% off. It must have been someone canceled, like, last minute. And it's so close, but, like, I'm
so excited.
We're used to staying at, like, Airbnbs with, like, 5 people in one bathroom. And there's 5 people, 3.5 baths.
3.5 bathrooms. Also, the Nashville, like, Airbnbs, I even went down a few years ago for a bachelorette party. We also only had 1 bathroom. Like, it's literally like, oh, here's 3 bedrooms, here's 4 bedrooms, 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're doing in these house remodels, whatever, but we literally feel so lucky. We're like, wow, everybody almost gets their own bathroom.
I know. It's going to be exciting.
It's the little things in life, truly.
Exactly. And if you're thinking and considering about going to Nashville, definitely do
go.
it. It's like, if you can make it there.
Yeah, it's so easy to be like, go, just go. But honestly.
Yeah, if you can make it, it's going to be super exciting. I think it's going to be like a good race that is going to have a lot of like fan events. And,
for sure.
It's the last race.
And
it's going to be a huge race. Alex Palou, Willpower, going head to head. It's going to be insane.
Is Alex Palou going to keep his reigning championship? Is Will going to come and get one? What's going to happen?
Stressful.
We're so literally like every time we see each other, not every few minutes, but every time we see each other, we like, I can't wait for Nashville.
I know, or we'll like be texting Ryan and like we can't have a conversation without being like,
yeah,
we're so excited for Nashville. Like it's gonna be so fun.
I was like, Nashville's just such a fun city too to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
It's great if you go to like, there's such good food.
Mm-hmm. Try
some food.
We're gonna go out on Broadway.
Yeah, if you like to do that, join us. Actually,
yeah, let us know if you're going out in Nashville. We'll probably be going out, so let's meet up. I'm excited. I'm excited.
So yeah, we're just yippee. Okay. It's gonna be so much fun.
Mm-hmm. How many days?
13.
13
days. Kind of crazy.
No.
Yes. It's in 2 weeks.
Oh, I meant till we get to Nashville.
Oh, well, the race is in 2 weeks, yes.
11 days till we get to Nashville.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. And, well, I had something to say, but I don't remember. Oh, yep. Next week, there's no racing for Formula 1 or Indycar, so we'll have a fun little episode. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of news coming out.
Yep.
Especially probably with Formula 1 McLaren. Don't worry, we'll talk about it.
We'll let you know.
I'll talk about it for sure. But if there's not much news, we'll probably do like a fun episode. We've talked about doing like a Taylor Swift lyric episode. Mm-hmm. Talked about bringing on one of our friends. We have some stuff up our sleeves. So it'll be a fun episode next week. Make sure you are tuned in and listening, and make sure you're following us on our socials. Share this episode with your favorite IndyCar friend. If you're here on YouTube, comment who you think is going to win the championship. Alex Palou or Will Power? I know who I'm rooting for. Let us know. Thanks for watching.